This is your Barbados Today morning news update for Wednesday, November 11. So glad you could join us. Voting in St. George North is underway with scores headed to the 25 polling stations across the constituency. The candidates are vying to represent the seat last held by Glenn Clark of the Barbados Labour Party. They include Tony Moore of the Barbados Labour Party, former cricketer Floyd Reefer of the Democratic Labour Party, agriculturalist David Walron of the People's Party for Democracy and Development, structural engineer Grenville Phillips, the leader of Solutions Barbados, social activist Alex Mitchell of the Bajan Free Party, and project consultant Ambrose Grosvenor of the United Progressive Party. 9,879 persons are eligible to cast their ballots. Voting will end at 6 p.m. With the recent announcement of a breakthrough in the global search for a COVID-19 vaccine by the United States pharmaceutical company Pfizer, Health and Wellness Minister Jeffrey Bossett says Barbados has invested close to $2 million in a project to ensure its population benefits from any new approved COVID-19 vaccine. He says it's an exciting development and his ministry is closely tracking the progress, which still has a long way to go. Minister Boswick, however, pointed out that even when such a vaccine is made available, existing COVID-19 protocols will remain in place as a precautionary measure. Businessman Anderson Cherry has assured he will follow through on a plan to foot the financial costs of residents who had to endure the negative impact of the dump he operated at Lower Estate St. George. He told Barbados Today he's willing to correct the problem.
We are willing to fix the problem here. That is the first and most important thing right here, is fixing the problem. And so far, we bared all the costs of doing this work so far. The government didn't have to put 1 cent here. We did all the costs and we will continue to fix it at our cost.
Okay. How expensive has that been? How much of a burden has that been on your businesses?
It has been a burden, but we don't want to put a cost to people's health at this time. Okay. All right. Or people's discomfort, or we can't put a cost to that. So, but we spend a significant amount here.
Cherry also suggested that the problem has raised the bigger issue of waste management in Barbados.
We have a waste management problem. We have to look at the way we dispose of waste and the way how we separate waste at source. I think that's the way forward, and it's not an Anderson Cherry thing.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back. To regional news, torrential rains lashed Antigua and Barbuda, resulting in widespread flooding across the island. More in this report from ABS News, where we learn that several persons are in shelters.
We still have about 20 persons in shelters in the Bowlands area. Collaboration between the Red Cross and as they just move a number of vagrants from around the market area into a shelter in Green Bay.
The vagrants number 15 and are being assisted by Nods with bedding. There are no further reports of people moving to shelters, but instead going to stay with family and friends. The Nods director says the area of prime concern is West Palm Beach.
To use this opportunity to appeal to anyone who still live in that specific low-lying area that they need to, if they're going to move to shelter, do so at daylight.
He says there are challenges in the Yorks community. However, most of the residents have chosen not to move. He says there's concern for one elderly resident. Mullin says the relevant teams are on standby for any eventualities.
On the international scene, a leading expert is optimistic the world will soon be on top of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to Professor Sir John Bell from Oxford University, it's a really exciting time, and he suggests there could be multiple vaccines available in early 2021.
The really good news is that based on all the data that we had from all the vaccines in late development, they all look about the same in terms of the immunity that they produce. So I think it's quite likely that the other vaccines are going to work as well. Certainly some of the other ones will. And that that will mean that we don't just have one vaccine. We'll probably have multiple vaccines to push out to the population in the first quarter next year. So it's a really exciting time because we should be able to get on top of this disease now.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.